to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back seat! Tell me where you are, John!
Wolfman's got Nards!
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. It's been over 35 years now since the Monster Squad came out, so grab your DeLoreans, we're going back in time to 1987. It has been a long time since the movie came out, so unfortunately I don't really remember the first time I watched the movie, but I do remember watching this movie growing up as a kid, hoping and praying that it would come back on TV so that I can put my videotape in the VCR and record it. And then when I did record it, I would watch it over and over and over again until the video snapped, and then I would cry for a little bit and then just hope and pray that it would come back on TV again. That's how much I loved the Monster Squad, because you do get these fans of the Goonies. We're always going to compare the movie to the Goonies, and as much as I love the Goonies, and the Goonies is obviously the better made movie, if somebody said to me, what do you want to watch? Do you want to watch the Goonies or do you want to watch the Monster Squad? And I would always go to the Monster Squad because of my horror roots, and it's just like the Goonies but with horror. But at the same time, the Monster Squad has got characters in it, kids, that I can resonate with more than I could with the Goonies. If you haven't figured it out by now guys, my channel, Wolfman's Got Nards, is a tribute to the Monster Squad. There are people who are fans of this channel that haven't seen the Monster Squad, so don't actually know why I call my channel Wolfman's Got Nards, even though I've got the little intro at the start where Horace says the line Wolfman's Got Nards. Some people just genuinely don't know because they've never seen the movie. I don't like to force feed information to people, so I like to give subtle nods to the Monster Squad, for example the channel name, but I don't always explain it. Oh, it's the Monster Squad, it's the Monster Squad. Same with the t-shirts as well. Stephen King rules. I get people saying, oh, you're a massive fan of Stephen King. Well, I like Stephen King, but that's not why I'm wearing the t-shirt. It's because this was worn by Sean in the Monster Squad, but I don't explain it. I don't like to do that. I just like to give that subtle nod to the Monster Squad, that little tribute. And then I do get fans of the Monster Squad now and again coming to the channel saying, I love your nods to the Monster Squad. And that's what I like to see, those little nice nods and the fans coming and going saying, love the channel name. That's what I love to hear. One of the main reasons I called the channel Wolfman's Got Nards is because I felt like almost nobody had seen the Monster Squad. Anytime I ask someone, have you seen the Monster Squad? They're like, no, never heard of it. So I'm like, wow, nobody knows the Monster Squad exists, and that really was annoying at the time. So back in 2011, I just thought I'm going to create my channel and call it Wolfman's Got Nards, and maybe try and spread some of the information of the Monster Squad out in the World Wide Web instead of just in Scotland where I'm from, because literally nobody has heard of it. But it was only as I went online and started the channel, I noticed that people had heard of the Monster Squad, and it became this cult phenomenon, because before the movie bombed at the box office big time and nobody wanted to see it at the time, it was almost like we weren't prepared or ready for a movie like the Monster Squad yet. So years down the line, 20 years after the movie came out, it started to get that cult following, and it just put a smile on my face. The basic premise of the movie is these kids who are obsessed with monsters, and who isn't obsessed with monsters, and unluckily, or luckily for them, 100 years after Van Helsing stopped Dracula and his monsters, they're back again and they're out to wreak havoc on the town, and it's up to the kids to defeat these monsters. That premise alone is something that gets all kids hyped up for it, because after I saw the movie, me, my sister and our friends created Monster Squad members cards, and we wanted people to join our Monster Squad because we wanted to go out there and look for monsters and kill them. It was absolutely amazing. What a time to be alive back in the mid 80s to the early 90s. I felt that the kids in the Monster Squad were very realistic for the 80s as well. They had those potty mouths, they weren't afraid to swear, they had their derogatory slurs as well that some people won't accept today. Even though they know the movie was made in 1987, they'll watch the film and go, oh, he shouldn't have said that. Why is he saying that? Well, the movie was filmed in 1986, 1987, so I'm not saying it's excusable now, but that's what they done back in the day, and those kids were realistic back in the day, because all kids spoke like that back in the day, they swore, etc. So when I watched the movie, it's all the things that I done. I didn't really swear as much because I was still a young kid, but it's just those realistic moments that you see in the Monster Squad that really captivate you. The soundtrack was fantastic, the score was fantastic. We even got a dedicated song for the movie by Michael Cimbello called Rock Until You Drop. I don't think it was ever released until recently as part of the Monster Squad vinyl, but it was never released as a single by Michael Cimbello. The rights to the look of the monsters in the Monster Squad were always with Universal, and I think that was one of the issues that they had when they were releasing the movie through TriStar. So they had to alter the look of the monsters slightly, and it didn't really bother me because they didn't look all that different. We knew exactly who they were supposed to be. You had the Gillman, the Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy and Dracula, so all those, and obviously the Dracula's brides, they all looked like who they were supposed to look like anyway, so it didn't really bother me. The movie was written by Shane Black and Fred Dekker, and it was directed by Fred Dekker himself, and it would have been hard for them at the time to try and write all of these monsters into one movie, because we hadn't had that before with all of the monsters in the one movie, and also mixing it with these little kids that are trying to defeat the monsters but still make it a decent film where it's not too cheesy and not too scary, because it's obviously aimed at some younger audiences as well. You had to get that perfect balance between the adult actors and the child actors, and I think the child actors stole the show. The child actors were unbelievable throughout the entire movie. You've got little Phoebe as well, who was played by Ashley Banks. She struck up a connection and a relationship with Frankenstein's monster, and those were some of the most heartfelt scenes in the movie. You know, the movie is scary at times if you're a kid, it's fun if you're a kid and an adult, and it's serious at times as well, and it's got those undertones of realistic life where you've got Sean's parents who are not going through a divorce, but it looks like they're going to split up because of having relationship problems. These sort of moments in these movies don't happen today. They're just brushed aside and everyone's hunky-dory, but this was real world moments and real world problems that you could get behind. When they give us real world moments in films these days, it's too in your face, whereas this, it's subtle and it doesn't take over the story of the film. You know, we're still invested in the monsters and we're still invested in the kids. They're just given those real world problems now and again. But then when we go back to Phoebe and Frankenstein's monster, the relationship that they have is just so heartfelt and heartbreaking at times. This may be a little biased, but out of all the Draculas that I've seen in all the Dracula movies, I think Duncan Reiger's Dracula was the scariest and the best. You know, he doesn't hold back, and again, it's thanks to Fred Dekker and Shane Black of writing these movies realistically, where Dracula is not afraid to try and kill the kids. He's not afraid to swear at the kids when he says things like this.
Give me the amulet, you bitch!
It's things that you just wouldn't see happening in modern cinema. I feel for Fred Dekker because this movie didn't take him to the heights that it was supposed to do because the movie bombed at the box office, and it didn't help that The Lost Boys came out at the same time, almost the exact same time as the Monster Squad came out, so the Lost Boys took all the shine and the Monster Squad just fell to the wayside. And then obviously when Fred Dekker directed RoboCop 3, that was just the nail in the coffin. Whereas for Shane Black, he went on to do films like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He done Iron Man 3. He was also part of Lethal Weapon and Predator, so he had a bigger career ahead of him. And then Fred Dekker and Shane Black got together again for the first time in years to write The Predator from 2018. Oof. Luckily, because of that cult following, not only did fans of the Monster Squad get together and talk about it again when it first came out, they were introducing it to new audiences who were also loving it. I've introduced it to my kids and they absolutely love the Monster Squad as well. And when I see the joy in their face, it takes me back to the joy that I had in my face, and it was just the exact same. It's a yearly tradition for us to sit down and watch the Monster Squad as a family. I would recommend it to everyone, even if you haven't seen it before. You know, it's got fun moments, it's got some scary moments, so you might want to watch out for maybe younger kids, very younger kids, but if you explain to them, it'll pass, it's fine. You know, you do get those scary moments, but that's outshone by just the fun that you have all the way through the movie. And if you're a kid, if you're an adult, I think you'll get something out of this movie. If you're an adult watching it for the first time, maybe you get something out of the parents, maybe you get something out of the adult monsters. And if you're a kid, you're obviously going to get something out of all of it. And I guarantee you guys, whether you're an adult or a kid, or whether you've seen the movie before, you're going to finish the movie with a massive smile on your face. So that's it guys, 35 years has come and gone since the Monster Squad came out, and as sad as it sounds, you know, it's been 35 years, where has time gone? But at least we've still got the memory of one of the best movies that I've ever seen. It's obviously nothing like The Shawshank Redemption or anything like that. It's one of the funnest movies that I've ever seen in my life, and that's why I always hold that movie close to my heart, because it holds, not only does it hold a special place in my heart in the movie world, it holds a special place in my heart in personal life, because it reminds me of being young, and it reminds me of sitting down with my mum and dad and watching movies that we loved. And the Monster Squad is something that I'll always cherish, because it reminds me of like just being young with my mum and dad and just having a good time. So if you love movies like that guys, definitely watch the Monster Squad, because it is a fantastic film. If you've seen the Monster Squad guys, leave your comments down below, let me know what you think of it, and if you saw it years ago, let me know of your earliest memory of it, and we can discuss it. As always guys, thanks a lot for watching, thanks for subscribing, I'll see you soon, bye bye.